Hi everybody, just first impression with the TCL. They again had the 27G64 and this is the 27R73G. Yeah, big differences by the way here. We're talking about many more zones, 180 compared to 1152 dimming zones. The other one had 180 Hertz. This one is 240 Hertz, 240 Hertz. The new one has 1400 nits in HDR, max brightness. The other one has 600. Anyway, you know that one of the problems that I had in my previous screen, it works actually on fast response time well, but on fastest it was basically unplayable. I told you it's just a gimmick. It was so bad beyond belief. I just couldn't use it anywhere. Not in Windows, not in any game. Couldn't. It just was not good. Blacks were, you know, depends. In many situations, blacks weren't that black when some even light comes close to a certain area because of the many zones. Even if it's far even from the black area, it's still going to lit it up because you know there aren't lots of them. Here you can see, by the way, on the fastest, it was terrible, absolutely a catastrophe, unplayable gimmick. Never going to use it. Look at all these reverse ghosting, smearing, just crazily bad. I mean, go and try to play Bloodborne with it. You can't. You just everything shifts colors. It's just like I put a visual effect on top of it that's kind of a glitch the entire screen. That's how it feels like. You know, you just can't look at that. Just changing a bit, just change the colors, and oh my god, great kind of micro contrast. This is how bad fastest response time is on the 27G64. Aside from that, the brightness in HDR wasn't enough. I mean, you can clearly see it when I use it, both because of the zones and because of the brightness. It just was bad for HDR. And I told others, I just don't recommend it for HDR content. If you play HDR games and if you consume HDR content, this is not the screen for you. But if you're playing in SDR and you don't really care about fastest response time, it's going to be a good screen for you, screen on a budget. Still, by the way, you're going to find some bending because it's 8-bit plus jitter. So it won't be perfect in certain gradients. You can notice sometimes we have severe bending, but in most situations, you won't notice it. I don't notice it in Windows, for example. And in certain situations, maybe if I work like in HDR that was designed really for everything like black and an object, and there's some degree of, you know, areas there with some color, maybe in some certain degrees of black, you're going to notice it. And maybe in YouTube, when they kind of play, you know, light, you know, around the video, you're going to notice it. But in most situations, again, especially in gaming, it's not an issue. So this is a 27G64. Now we will talk about the new one. So again, the new one, I told you, many enhancement all across the board, more zones, higher refresh rate, higher brightness, basically all the things that you want to be improved if you want to pay more for a screen, especially if you care about HDR, right? So this is like, really, it's not even a one step up, it's several steps up because it improves on all of the important things. But again, when it comes to refresh rate, we're going to talk about that, right? Because it's also something important, especially if you play competitive and you want faster refresh rate. But this is something that was disappointing. What disappointing? It was terrible on the TCL 27G64. The question is how it's going to be in this screen. Now, I'm just saying right now, I'm not a professional. I'm just a gamer. Keep this in mind. So straight away, this is just first testing. When we do more tests. First of all, I want to just say right now, regarding refresh rate, response time, I was actually totally shocked because I didn't expect it. I tested out first in UFO test and noticed, well, it's actually better when I'm looking at reverse ghosting. There are some reverse ghosting, but it's so fast that it makes the games playable. And by the way, maybe in certain situations with very high contrast, you're going to notice it, but it's so minimal that it's actually playable. It's unbelievable. And many other games that I play that are not like that, I didn't notice anything. And of course, in fast, it's going to be, of course, better. But I would say that it wasn't as perfect as the 27G64. But again, not to a degree where you really care about that. I mean, 27G64 was almost perfect, right? This is maybe like 3 to 5% less, I would say. Doesn't matter, yeah. Still great. And not just great, I can actually play, and I do plan to play on the highest refresh rate because I try different games, and in many games, I didn't notice anything. So it's not that it doesn't exist, but it's totally playable. And the thing is that when I actually reduce the refresh rate of the screen slightly to, let's say, 144, I think it was more severe. I mean, it was more severe. So on the highest refresh rate, it was better. I need to do more testing, but I think there is a kind of relation between them, between the refresh rate and the reverse ghosting there. Anyway, this is like the day and night difference compared to the 27G64, where you can't actually play on the highest refresh rate. It's just not playable. Here, it's totally playable. It's just on the opposite side of the scale. And here I'm actually taking it to an extreme because it's very high contrast, very dark areas, very bright areas, and also text and all the, so, and some fine lines. And in other games that I played it, I didn't notice it. I'm going to give you an example. Now, regarding blacks, amazing, huge difference. It can be directly because of the zones. The other one also had really good blacks, but again, because light just comes in, it's going to light up the black area and it's going to look dark gray. Now, in terms of brightness, I didn't notice like a huge change until, of course, I switched to HDR, which I don't have footage for it. But you know how I knew that HDR is amazing? Because I needed to squint my eyes because it was that bright with those areas. I actually watched an HDR video for brightness, and when the sun came in, it was just like I'm outside and the sun just shines on you and you kind of squint with your eyes. That's how it felt like. And there was one moment with the lighthouse that actually rotates in one of the videos, and then it just shows towards me. I was like, what is that brightness? Oh my God, it's just so bright. Really, it felt great. And then, of course, everything just looked more realistic because of the brightness. Great. So brightness in general makes a huge difference to try to portray something that looks realistic when you're viewing it on a screen. It's just night and day difference. I also heard, by the way, things regarding that with VR when Mark Zuckerberg talked about VR and brightness and also mentioned that. And yeah, this is indeed the case. Brightness is super important. Anyway, night and day difference. And by the way, no issue with uniformity. I mean, two displays, what's happening here? I'm just lucky, or that's TCL really outdoing themselves? I mean, seriously. Amazing uniformity, no issue, not the pixel, nothing. Anyway, I went to play it in more games. By the way, I do more testing, keep in mind. So if there's something that I want to change my mind, this is just first impressions. And I didn't notice anything. I'm playing on fastest. Now, I couldn't believe my eyes. I told myself, I actually left maybe on fast. I mean, I just couldn't believe it with all the details. Something I would notice, kind of shifting on colors. No, it was actually on fastest. I couldn't notice anything. Usually when you have those little details, you notice with the micro contrast or something. But I mean, wow. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, I'm playing on fastest and I can't notice anything. It's just perfect. Well, I don't mind. And this is kind of dark area, right? Where I kind of expected to see shift when you see shift with the reverse ghosting, with brighten up things compared to a scene that is much brighter. This is kind of situation where, especially with the grass and everything, where you want to notice it, right? It's going to be more significant compared to, let's say, playing Battlefield, where everything is bright. In a brighter scene, you won't notice it, right, at all. I mean, even here, I don't notice it, let alone even a very bright scene. So it was amazing. I didn't notice anything. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm totally surprised. This was something that just blew my mind away because I just didn't expect it. I expected more or less the same worst performance as the other one, but it wasn't the case. Maybe they refresh it as something extra to do with it based on my testing, by the way. So I believe that the higher refresh rate also has an impact on that compared to the other one, 180 hertz, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think because of my little test that I did, it was more severe when I actually reduced it to 144. So it might be the case, but not 100% sure. More testing will be done. Now here, that's actually a situation in the game, and sorry for the bad angle, by the way, where I actually tested out with the blacks. There's kind of little room where some areas is, by the way, you're going to see it compressed and everything is going to be bad on YouTube compared to what I see it with my own eyes. So don't judge it totally with everything. I'm just saying that I was surprised. The black was just pitch black. That's totally black. I just couldn't, not gray, black. And even if I got it close, just shifting the light from the right side to the left, it was really good. I didn't even notice like something like blooming or anything that makes it, something that really ruin it and makes it bad. It's going to be shifting, of course, but it looks actually really good. What I'm saying is that more zones, better, without a doubt, and well, I don't need to tell you that. And very good performance here. But just so you know, because of the dimming zones, and again, it's not OLED, so small tags or things like that won't be like that bright because it's not lit per pixel, right? So you can even notice it when you are in Windows or whatever. Again, when there's some small tags, usually it depends on the area where the text is located. So if the text is really where the light is, it's going to be brighter. If it's below it, it's going to be slightly darker. But again, in actual use, it doesn't matter. But if you just move white text on a black screen, and actually made a video just for testing these things out, you can actually check on my channel for testing local dimming zones, you're going to notice it. But again, we all looking at, well, how it's going to be in gaming. And in gaming, fastest, again, blacks and everything just looks amazing on the screen. Not perfect, but amazing. For example, I didn't notice anything wrong here when I actually played this game. Yeah, so all about expectations. So first impressions compared to the 27G64, this is a significant difference, both in terms of HDR brightness, both in terms of deep black, or deep blacks, and I think more surprisingly also playable on the fastest refresh rate. Again, it's not perfect, but superly playable. More testing will be done. I'm going to test it on more competitive play as well. But yeah, overall, wow. First impressions are very, very impressive. Wow. Yeah, I will search to do something to win everything. I will try hard. Trust me, I don't try to compliment the screen. We try to find things that are bad. But again, just putting also the bad things at the end. Again, as I told you, in terms of some bending when it comes to colors, again, because it doesn't prevent because of the 8-bit. It's 8-bit plus 2, but again, it's not perfect. So for critical work, I wouldn't use it. But for many games, you won't notice anything anyway. On fast, it has really slight reverse ghosting, but again, almost not noticeable at all. But it's not as like perfect compared to the other one, although the other one is kind of, I think, very small black smearing. But again, you won't notice it. If I honestly search for it, again, overall it will look perfect in most situations. In many games, you won't notice it. This is why I'm saying some people mention something and people take it to a higher degree, which is actually not the case. So just so you know, it's very, very tiny. Yeah, and basically that's it for now. Hope you find this one interesting. Again, this is just me like 2 hours with the screen testing out in certain games and stuff and doing, this little work with it and already knowing, of course, how the previous one was performing. It's a huge difference in terms of performance, no doubt about it. More will come soon. Thanks for watching.